Hello, welcome back to another day of Gathering the Magic. So today we're going to talk about the big, the huge, the massive Eluge the Shoreless Sea. First of all, we will go over some of his weaknesses. The first thing you need to know or worry about in an Eluge deck are lands. Eluge is first and foremost a land commander. Just think of a beached whale. What does a beached whale need? Yes, that's right, sunblock. Well, you're gonna need a lot of lands, like 40 or so lands. Everyone knows that blue deck lags greatly when it comes to ramp, especially land ramp. So Eluge relies on never missing those land drops. The next weakness that Eluge has is that he doesn't come with flying, trample, or any other evasion. If your opponents are cranking their mob boss, you're not gonna hit anything. This is why you run some evasive card such as Aqueous Form. Trust me, late game with huge Eluge is deadly when you're swinging for 30 plus unblockable damage. On that note, Eluge is a spellslinger land commander, so you don't have a lot of space in your boat to run some little dudes. You're also going to want something to give Eluge vigilance, so you can keep the pressure on your opponents without turning it into a slugfest. Equipping cards like a Cordus Shield to Eluge will deter your opponents from swinging something your way. Now let's talk about some synergies. One of the best things you can run in an Eluge deck is Solemn Simulacrum. For the most part, Solemn Simulacrum is a one and done card. You get one land and sack him for a card draw, but not in this case. If you get a flicker engine going on, such as this Blizzard Kitty, you can get a lot of lands. Flicker also works well with Eluge because he's got an enter ability that reduces the cost of instants and sorceries, so you can sling spells and fuel Displacer Kitten. Unfortunately, we all know that blue doesn't have a lot of creature tutors, but that's okay because Solemn Simulacrum is an artifact creature, so you can just run some artifact tutors like Transit Mage. Another synergy for huge Eluge is Jingitaxi's Progress Tyrant, because whenever you cast the first artifact, instant, or sorcery each turn, Jingitaxius copies it. This will generate you some massive value late in the game. Not only that, but Jingitaxius is also a control piece because he will counter the first artifact, instant or sorcery your opponents cast each turn. As Foretold is a great card, especially for a control deck, because then you don't need to leave mana open for a counterspell. As Foretold gives you a free spell each turn, which is going to be great for this next synergistic card, Brain Freeze. Brain Freeze will be one of Eluge's win cons, and this is what I often see people doing wrong in their Eluge deck. Yes, Eluge is as great as a counterspell slop commander, but you know what's better than countering all of your opponent's spells until you inevitably run out of counterspells and die? Having a better win con. In a big pod, it is impossible to counterspell everything, which is what is going to make your Eluge deck play way worse than it should. You're already going to be running a bunch of flicker spells and card draw spells. You might as well take advantage of the reduced cost for instant and sorceries and mill an opponent out with Brain Freeze. Then you can run Snapcaster Mage and flashback with Brain Freeze, Time Warp, or really any great instant or sorcery that's just hanging out in your graveyard. Snapcaster is great because you never know what your opponents have. Sometimes you cast a spell way too early, sometimes you counter the wrong thing, and now they're casting a Vorinclex that's about to decimate your land advantage. Just pop Snapcaster Mage down and you'll have an extra response to all of your opponents. The last synergistic card I will talk about is this card that I don't know how to say it correctly. If you copy Eluge with this spell, then you can get another non-legendary Eluge with flying. With 2 Eluges out, it will double the cost reduction of your instant and sorceries, and on top of that, Eluge is just really huge. This one spell really hurt your opponents and even close out games. I think Eluge really shines when you give him an original spin. Eluge can be used for many different strategies, such as Flicker, Spellslinger, Storm, or Landfall. My advice is just be unique, make it your own deck, and have fun. If you're taking decks off of Mox Field and keeping it meta, unless you are a cEDH player, kinda just defeats the point of having a build deck in the first place. Well, I think you guys will be able to fill in the blanks. Now you know how to slap your opponents in the face with the big fish. But if you made it this far and haven't already subscribed, it will be a great help to our channel. Our next goal is 200 subscribers, and we're getting closer each day. Until then, thank you so much for your support, and good luck, goodbye, and you're welcome.